Yeah, so no, but also it actually artists are part of the discussions about how we build society. And the Dutch, we're not good at that. In the same way that we're not good at knowing our history, or with all, it's a very historical thing. But so this is, I think, we struggle with letting people know or understand, or actually, well, experience, yeah, because in the end you have to experience it. I mean, we can tell you something, but how do you get people in an experience that actually means something to your personal self? You know, it's not about only having a great night, it's about reflecting on society and mirroring your ideas. So I think that's the big issue that we have and that we're working on.
Okay. And who is your audience?
Audience it's very different. So it really depends on the show. So for example, I think 40% of our shows is dance. And dance, for example, is way younger and multicultural than text theater. So, and then also it depends on if you do really the classics like Shakespeare's and Greeks. And we have a lot of school kids because their teachers think it's good, but also the audience tends to be more aged than other shows. So it really depends. But always the struggle is to get our audiences younger and more cultural, diverse.
You think that the language have something to do with it?
Yeah, language. Well, when it comes to, of course, English speakers, yes, and we have the English subtitles in the Thursdays. But I'm always kind of amazed that Dutch theater doesn't do a lot of English. I don't know why, actually, because also many Dutch people will understand an English show. So it's only during festival times. So we have big festivals. So the Holland Festival, of course, we have a month here where we have many English shows. All our dance performances. We have always Brandhaarden in January, which is always international and about a big subject in Europe. So, for example, this year our theme will be Southern Europe. So we will have shows from Greece, Italy, Spain, and see how they reflect on where we are. So we're trying, but yeah.
How many times do you, like you said, it's not always sold out, and sometimes it's not empty, but almost.
Yeah.
How many times do you cover your fixed costs, like light, warmth, or things like this?
Yeah.
Like, is it happening that you're not covering in your own loss after a show?
I don't know, actually. I mean, some of the questions that you guys have like this, I can get your answers, but I don't know. So also, I think maybe we want to say, if we have some of these questions that we don't have answers for now, make a big email to me and I will get the answers throughout our company. Yeah, because I think it's a good question, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably will be
when there is a show, maybe more. How many people do you need backstage to do tasks like lights?
Okay, so let's move.
We got one head of maintenance, but actually these days it's called differently, but it doesn't really matter. The four of us are more on the floor, and we repair things. It's quite a wide variety of that, and then the head of the department, he arranges all the stuff, and also with external companies. And that's what we do. The only thing we don't do is actually here on stage. So if we have to do something on stage, you always have to go to the man who is responsible for the stage and then ask permission if you can get on stage, because what we do is totally different than from what theater people do. So you have to work a lot together with the rest within the building. Yeah. So let's say if you have any questions about, I don't know where you want to...
Yeah. Or already have...
Who would like to start?
Oh, yeah.
Just curious, where do you get all the material for the props, etc.?
Well, props they are not working with. It's really so he knows about the building, everything that is
We're more
this
control
building.
the building. And the props we don't do. The only thing that we do help them with, if they have things like welding or carpeting, stuff like that. We do give them a hand. We got shops downstairs in the basement, and if they really want to, they can come down to us and we give them a hand. We just show them the way. Where we're going out of the fact that the people who come in with the performance or the show, we're going out of the fact that they are technicians as well, so that they know how to use these machines, because it's their responsibility at that point and then not ours. But that's boring stuff because that's got to do with insurance and that kind of.
You were having the question, I said, about the climate
agreement.
climate
What's
agreement.
already being done to like reduce the footprint of the building.
Are we working on reducing our footprint?
Yeah, we are. But it's complicated because normally this, well, as you can see, this is quite an old building. So what they did here, they didn't have any air conditioning and stuff like that. We're building that in, and then we use a software program where you can make those changes about temperature and about how long you wanna. Because actually, light burns here about actually 12 to 14 hours a day. It's ridiculous, but it does happen. And then we got like the air conditioning about the same. But we try to make that less, but it's quite hard to do that manually because then by every performance and everything you have to do that manually. So now we got a computerized program for that, and then we're trying to reduce that. Still quite difficult, but at least you have to try because your the money you get from the council, the government, or whatever, they say like, okay, you can get the money, but if you don't show us what you're doing to reduce all of this, then you're not going to get it anyway. So we have to do that, yeah.
Is the
Same
fact that
counts
it's
for the lights.
is it the fact that it's a monument is that also working against you?
Yeah, definitely, because on one side you're saying like you got to reduce this, and if we want to do something about, but actually I don't know a word about it. If you want to make the building more close, you know, that you're not losing too much heat to the outside, then this other people come and say like, no, this is a monument. Forget about it. You're kind of in the middle of between those things because and then we have the council as well because we rent this place from the Council of Amsterdam. And they have a say as well. So we got 3 parties who have a say in what goes on and what does not goes on within the building. That makes it a little bit difficult, but we're definitely working on it because we have to. It's not anymore if you want to, you have to. So.
Yeah, but you also say it's ridiculous how much light is working here all
it is.
day.
Yeah, but that's the problem between all the different organizations that are within the building. Of course, we're one, but I mean like border guards and stuff like the officers, and then we, and then as well
The artistic teams.
technicians.
So.
And then we got the actors. Don't forget about the actors.
So from what you're saying, I understand that right now, at this moment, for the government, it's more important the fact that this is a monument than reducing emissions and the climate.
Yeah, because that's where the council still gives their priority on to keep it, to save the monument. And of course, they're willing to help us in reducing that footprint he's talking about. But the problem already is if we want to do something with solar, you know, we want to put those cells on the roof. It's practically not working. It's not possible. The whole roof is from zinc here in this part of the building, and that's already kind of a problem. You can't really attach it. But I can't put any isolation in between because if I do that, then all the wood is going to get wet and it's going to rot because it's not working with zinc. So actually, you should change your roof. But then the monument people say like, yeah, right, whatever. So you know, you're continuously with those people. You have a discussion and you keep trying. You're trying to get the best out of it. But there's another thing in the other room we have. This is like what we call the Pelterzaal, but then we also have the Rabozaal.
You already were there also.
Oh, you already were there? It's quite easy over there because it's new. You know, they're all LED lights. But the problem with LED lights is if they burn 12 to 14 hours a day, then they're getting this now already. They're getting too white. And if you wait a little bit longer, they're getting too blue, which is not a nice light because you want that warm light. You want that A267, but that's quite difficult to do. And then we started again talking with Philips. I don't know if you know the lighting company, Philips, which is a Dutch-based company. And now we're talking with them again about what we're going to do about the coloring of the lights. Which, so we're now in a process of working on our footprint, but we're in the process, which makes it difficult.
Your deal with Philips is, do you rent the light from them or you buy the light?
No, we didn't start with that. They showed us the possibility that I say like, okay, I want this room to be illuminated by this many looms, and then they're going to do that for us. But that's as well a money thing because it's not
expensive.
cheap. Yeah, it's quite expensive, and I'm amazed by that because everybody wants to reduce.
Yeah.
But if you see the prices, and I think like, man, if you want to print that kind of money, that's already a lot of footprint. Yes.
Is there anything else you think is right now getting overconsumed or something you could reduce right now?
Waste. We're having a problem with waste in the building. So what we're trying to do is
What kind of waste?
well, waste in the sense of wood, plastic, glass, because we got everything here and they produce that kind of waste. We can't do that by our own, we already found out. So we're working, across the street is another theater, De La Mar. We're working with Bellevue, which is also another theater. We're working with Paradiso, you know, where the concerts are. And we're trying to work out with them a kind of system where everybody takes a little bit of the responsibility, and then we try to separate the waste and then try, if it, you know, that it gets into the right place to recycle.
But is it then
Whatever
used
it is.
once, or where is it coming from? The wood and all these things. Can you reuse it, or are you reusing it? Or?
We're reusing wood, but not all of it. Because there's a lot of theater companies, they come over here and they bring their stuff, but then they say like, we don't want to take this back anymore because the transport costs are way too high.
Yeah.
So they say like, can we leave this here? And then we say, yes, okay. And we check out the wood and we check what we can reuse, or plastics or other kind of stuff. And if we can't reuse it, then we're going over to the other plan, which is not really working yet, but then we're going to start with the other theaters and asking what can you use and what can we use from you, and we're trying to, and then try to recycle it within this circle of only theaters, because that's the only thing we do. And then of course everything goes to Amsterdam West, and then it gets burned.
And how do you communicate that with the other theaters?
Well, if you look at some of them, they have facility managers and they
Yeah.
communicate it.
Okay.
But the task from us is to report what we have.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We had a really huge wooden floor because this theater group didn't want to play on the original floor. Well, it's fine. So they put down a floor, but they didn't want to take it because the expenses were too high to transport it. So every country and city they're going, they're ordering a new floor. Well, that's their thing. And
Yeah,
then,
because that's kind of weird as well, right? Actually.
yeah, it is, but that's the way we can't change the
artistic,
theater
idea.
groups.
No.
We can't do that. So the only thing we can do is, okay, give us the floor back. And right now you see a lot of that black floor coming back everywhere in the building because we're reusing it. But it's quite an expensive floor as well, so we would really like to have it. So that's not a problem then.
But so you.
No, but it would be interesting actually, I mean, for our programmers, for example, if a theater company comes with a request like that, do you say we will program it, yes or no? I mean, it could actually be, I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, but it's interesting, right, in your field of work that if people come with these kind of questions, that you feel, you go like, if we are trying to reduce our footprint, do we want that? You know, do we want to?
Are they already asking that question when you program it, or do you hear it when it's already
I don't know.
been sold?
At this moment, they definitely don't do because we see things coming in that you really say like, what? And then it's like, okay, so we have to get rid of that, and that's a problem because these directors, they're artistically buying weird stuff, and we have to deal with that because everything must be possible because it's culture and theater, you know. So that's the way it goes. But for us, it's really it's like hell because sometimes we got these little plastic. I don't know, it's not really plastic, but it's got a different name to it, and it got small plastic balls, and they had to come down from here down to the stage, and it snows then black snow for like 20 minutes. But if you do black snow for 20 minutes, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount. And then they say like, yeah, we don't want to take it back with us anymore because the volume is quite high.
But they pay for it, or you?
No, they pay for it.
They pay for it, and you just make it.
Yeah,
like
because now they get the bill.
Yeah.
Because for us it's and if we can reuse it, well, that's then we're lucky.
Yeah.
But in quite some different ways, there's a lot of stuff we can't use.
Then, although the scenery, because I know the black snow, I mean, and it's really fabulous.
Looking for amounts of plastic, wood, metal, and so on. Are you working with those?
No, definitely not. No.
Okay.
No, because
And is that like you cannot do that because you work with the government already, or what?
No, but these companies are way too small, and sometimes they cannot even handle the amount we've got because we're not going to ask them after every show like, okay, come by and pick it up because they.
Oh no, I'm not talking about everything, but you know the ways that I don't know corners, for example, from props or whatever. You know, like you have leftovers, as you said.
Yeah, we have leftovers.
And those two
Some of it we store
Okay.
downstairs in the basement because we've actually quite think like, okay, this can be reused, but not reused like in a new show or a new theater show, but we can use it, and as well as for the building or for here. And what we do is like stuff like this decor, we weld this ourselves as well, but this is then from a theater group, but we do stuff for theater group as well, and then we use old stuff from the other theater groups. So we store it, but the storage is not that big because storage means space, and space is square meters, and they're very expensive here in the center of Amsterdam. So yeah, it's difficult. We do have an extra, how do you say that, in Havens West, the extra place we have.
Yeah, we have
It's
a huge storage
a huge
somewhere.
storage,
Yeah.
and their old stuff goes there as well. So we know it's over there, and then we can it can stay a bit longer there, and then we see if we can reuse it. Or
So you don't really recycle with a center or something?
no,
Okay.
no, we don't.
And which stage of the production are you creating the most waste? Like in the preparation of a play or a dance, or like doing?
So we only afterwards. Because actually in some cases we do provide them with stuff, with wood, whatever they want. And then when it's over, then we're left with some of the mess. But there are some theater groups who don't want to spoil anything at all. They're rare, but they are here. So there you go.
Yeah, so when you guys are selling tickets when there's a show going on, do you think more audiences will choose to have like paper tickets or e-tickets? Or do you guys only have paper tickets?
We don't really get involved with that, but because I also do partly of the IT systems here, I know that they're right now. Yesterday they introduced it. It's a new system, and that is definitely more based on buying online than coming here to the register and buying a paper ticket. So that's changing as well. But that's actually not because of us, but that's more like what people want. So that's a good thing as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any waste in the room, like after a show or
Like
something?
what kind of tickets
Like,
will the
are you allowed
audience
to eat
choose?
or
Do they have
or-
paper and or
Here
Yeah,
in the
the
room,
both.
it's quite okay. It's mostly flyers, but we see a very reduction in flyers that are printed and that are coming in because we're not doing flyers because that's like a marketing thing. But they always call us if the pallets are coming in and we have to help them. But that's getting less and less, and I don't know why, but maybe people are looking more online. I really don't.
Yeah, and you
know,
get a
maybe
service
you know.
mail before you visit the performance, so you get the information in your email, so you don't need the flyer anymore.
No.
Also, you don't have brochures there anymore.
Yeah, we do.
We do still have them, but then the brochures are changing as well because what they're trying to do is not a brochure from one show. No, they're making it more a little bit thick, and then you have like one season, the season of 19 and 20 right now. So they want to reduce that. But in the early days when we started here, it was full of dog. It was ridiculous. It was extra.
Yeah, but it's still not in theater because, for example, I know from Oerol, which is a big outside festival on the island of Terschelling, I think they stopped making a paper brochure, but it took them like 3 or 4 years to get their audience actually used to the idea that they don't have a booklet with them and seeing, that's a festival, it's kind of different because you have like this program for just 2 weeks and you travel with your program. But it's really also audience have to get used to the idea of that. But I think we're trying, but there are still many, well, maybe that's stupid to say, but also older audiences who really like to have still their
Yeah, but I
their
can imagine
brochure.
that
And,
it
me
takes
too,
years
yeah,
and time
yeah.
to,
And it's
do you-
easier during the performance because otherwise you have to light up your cell phone, and that's not allowed. So if you want to look it up during, then you need paper actually.
Yeah, but
Have
it's
a mobile application or something besides reading when you move with the pro?
yeah, well, we're now starting, for example, with we have of course our website, and we're starting also to make our inleidingen, our pre-talks online. People are starting to use more and more podcasts to give the information to the audience instead of a booklet. So that's slowly happening. So I have to say though that the theater, I mean not specifically us, but the whole field of theater is a little bit, I think, a little bit behind on using computer techniques and because I don't know. We also.
Would you say it's more traditional in their ways?
Well, I don't know if it's more traditional, but I always also say, theater is het meest analoge ding wat er bestaat. Yeah, the most analog thing you have, This is what we do. We do analog. This is why it works. And I think, well, this is just my thinking. Again, it's not company policy, but I think because we are very analog thinkers, it takes us time to think about how to use all these new techniques.
Well, that's the beauty of it. For sure.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. No, but so now theaters are really exploring and working on how to use it for information. But for example, using it, the technologies for example, education, lesson materials, more interactive stuff, it's still very small in theater. We can use much more.
You want to ask something?
Yeah, perhaps I missed it when we walked around, but do you guys have bins to collect and separate the waste?
No, because we do separate, but that's what we have a cleaning company, and the cleaning company is ordered to separate. So the paper from paper, even cardbox goes in a different waste bin, and then we got the rest of the waste from the offices and stuff like that. Yeah. And now we're working on a thing which is with food, because now they would like to see us to separate food from the rest of the waste. So that's what we're trying to do. And then of course the plastics are being separated and that kind of stuff. But it's still not working, because if I look at our container downstairs and sometimes I check it out and I say, okay, that was a bad day. So it's like the most difficult thing is to change people. And maybe for you, because you're quite young, I mean, it's already, you're getting used to it and you grow up with it, and then it's quite good. But then you still need the opportunity to separate your waste, and that's what we have to provide to the officers or here.
Yeah, so in the offices we do have paper bins.
Yeah, the paper is separated, but the rest is
quite good. But
I don't know. The rest is still, we have to work on that.
So the customer waste, that only goes to one bin.
Yeah, that only goes to one bin, and
Okay, that's probably not separated at all.
No, not at all. But then you do know that when it gets to the place where they burn it, they still separate it over there, because we've been invited over there to see what they're doing. It was a horrible visit. It smells like hell over there, and then we see what they do, because they still do stuff that I really didn't know about. It still goes on like this belt, which is running, and you still got people there separating dirt. And I thought, like, damn, that's ancient, but probably not. And then they have automated it, like if they want to take aluminum, iron, and that goes by the magnets. Right. Yeah.
And how efficient is that, like sending everything to the burner and having people doing that instead of having customers having the opportunity to separate themselves? Because you're losing some of the efficiency in the process, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But also, after this, we will talk to Gijs or Jeroen, so the customer side of the building. We will speak with them also, because they run. So we have. Actually, we are kind of one company, but it's two as well. So the restaurant and the cafe and the people who are working here at nights to bring in the audience, or they are a company inside the company somehow. So.
Yeah, the different museums in Amsterdam, they already try to do that, but in most cases you need 5 bins.
Yeah.
It's kind of problematic here. I mean, you've been walking around, the space is really not really that big, and it starts to smell. So you really have to think about where do you put it. There has to be enough airflow, because otherwise it's not going to do the trick. But you have to think about it. But it's I don't know. That's not going to be like next year, or that's going to take a while.
Do you maybe have an overview of where all your materials are coming from and where they are used in theater and where they go afterwards? Do you have that maybe like calculated in a paper or something?
Not at all. No, I have to admit that we don't do that, because it would take up so many time of you to register that. Even if you do it on a computer, you got nice files for that and stuff like that. It's a time you don't get, because there's not enough time for that. They're trying to reduce not only on waste footprint and stuff like that, but as well on staff and personnel. and it's quite unbelievable. But we got 2 buildings now, and in the old days they only had this building here, and then they were working with 8 people from maintenance, and now we have to do it with 4. So
The
they
2
keep reducing,
buildings.
and now we have an extra building over there. So some things are just not possible because there's no time. Not at all.
That would be very handy.
We were talking about the brochures before, so I'm not sure. But do people like return the brochure to the front desk, or they take it with them?
They take it with them, and when it's the brochure of just one show, it's also sometimes just left behind. Yeah.
Like on the seats, or you mean left behind?
As well on the seats,
Also
yeah.
on the seats, but also throughout the other spaces in the theater. Yeah.
And do you guys just collect it and throw it away, or put it back to where they were? Like,
No, they,
Depends on if there's another show the next day, we
It
can
depends.
collect them if
Yeah, because,
they're looking good.
yeah, because from what I heard, I think I remember, because the show goes on like multiple times, not just once.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, okay.
but
So
It
the
depends
show
on-
we saw Fright is here for 2 weeks, I think, but
Yeah.
this show's here only for 2 days.
Oh, okay.
and that's a problem then because mostly they print way too much, and you actually need for one show. But that's what people do, so you have to change that attitude as well.
Yeah.
And what we do as well, or as an organization, we printed too many papers on A4 with a logo, but then the logo changed because we got
Yeah.
together with the theater group, and what they do then is, I actually quite liked it. Then they send all the paper away, which was old because we were not allowed to use it anymore, and then they made like note blocks from them. So you're gonna get quite weird note blocks, but at least they're trying to. You have to pay for that, and then you get like a note block with a weird with the old logo in it. But who cares, because you can still write on it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, so they're busy with it, but we're not that far.
Okay.
always, so.
I also have the same question with the tickets, because you said you guys still print some tickets because there's still
It happens,
people
yeah.
preferring it. But so do you guys pre-print like a certain amount of tickets, or once they order it and then you start printing?
Only when they order it, and only
Okay.
when you order the paper tickets.
Okay.
So if you order the e-ticket, you don't get a paper ticket as well.
Thank
No,
you.
but it's also funny that, for example, Anlot and I, we will work with a lot of schools as well. And there are actually schools that even don't take our flyers anymore. Because
Oh.
the school decides not to give paper to the kids and the parents anymore. So also the outside forces us to change systems, which
Yeah.
is great, you know. Yeah.
One last question, and maybe we move on
Yeah.
to the.
Yeah.
What about all the equipment, lighting, amplifiers, speakers? What's the lifespan of that, and what can you replace them?
Normally you use them about 5 years, and then you start thinking about replacing them, especially lights with the amplifiers and stuff. That actually takes longer, but there's another problem with that. The development of those machines and lighting and stuff goes on, and they don't want to stay behind.
Yeah.
So what they do is they get rid of the old and they sell it, and then stuff which is working. And they're still doing experiments on lighting, because a couple of lights you see here is like 1 kilowatt, but normally they use like 5 kilowatts. So we change this whole room in LED lighting, which is great, but then they buy 2 like 5Ks, and then it's already gone. So that's quite a thing as well. But the problem is, if you use LED lighting on stage and you got an actor standing here in a red dress, which is the meaning of the director, it changes it to a brownish color, because LED lighting is still not working correctly. So they're working on that, but that's still not happening. But it's like ridiculous, because we spend over more than 1,000 lights to change them into LED, and then theater is buying. So that's why we separated those two. So we said like, yeah, this is nice that you're doing this stuff, but we give you a separate meter to see what you are using and what we are using, because this is not fair, because then you're trying to change, and then they have to buy extra stuff, and then it's immediately gone. So that's how it keeps you have to keep working on it. That's how it goes.
Thanks, John.
Welcome to the theater.
Thank you.
On stage, yeah. You were going to say, I think 2 or 3 in the evening. No, not yet.
Do people have to order food like they order the tickets, or they're just asking?
Yeah, you can take food and No.
Not like a fixed menu for the restaurant.
No, it's a la carte, yeah.
Yeah.
items or equipment do you guys have to replace often?
After the show,
Well, just often in general, like plates or...
yeah, we have just a regular brasserie card.
Uh-huh.
So we have some lunch dishes, some main dishes. So it's quite a large card, but I can show you this. It's in English.
Oh, I don't think you answered the question.
Oh.
Which items do you have to replace often? Like,
On the table,
yeah.
not so many.
No.
No, we just take the plates away, the glasses, and then it's set to go. Yeah, we clean the table and that's it. But there's no waste
Oh, okay.
on the table.
Maybe napkins.
Yeah, napkins. Yeah.
How about you? Do you guys have paper menus that you replace once in a while on the menu?
Yeah. Yeah, when they're dirty, we replace
And
them.
what happens to the old menus? Do you guys recycle those? Do you
Yeah, we put them in paper, yeah.
How many people work for the bar?
In the morning they start with 2, then it depends in the afternoon, mostly 3 or 4, and in the evening it's 8, 9, 10, but it depends on the show and what's going to be in the evening.
And do you guys have a computer system or are you write it down on paper?
No, we have a system for all the food and beverage, yeah. They put it in the system, they have handhelds.
好，as a non-Dutch speaker who has an Asian cultural background, do you have the habit of going to the theaters in the Netherlands and watch plays and shows?
Well, actually, I don't have any habit of going to the theaters, but if there's any show that is really attracting me, I'm really interested in that. I wouldn't mind giving it a try, though.
Okay, what kinds of shows and plays are you interested about the most?
Okay, I don't have any specific type, but as long as I'm able to understand the language and meaning behind the show, I'm okay with it.
Okay, do you consider there is any inconvenience for a non-Dutch speaker to watch plays in a Dutch theater?
I was at the Beatrix Theater last week for the Mamma Mia show. It was a music classic, so my non-Dutch background doesn't really affect my experience at the show. It was amazing, but I would imagine if the show was in Dutch and very culturally rooted, I would be really lost when I'm watching the show. Or probably I wouldn't even go to the show in the first place.
Okay, do you have any suggestions on improving the service in the Dutch theaters?
Yes. Actually, I think and I know this is Netherlands and people are supposed to speak Dutch and write in Dutch. But if you want to make great business, it's really important to consider the international fans who don't speak Dutch at all. The language barrier could be a big impact on whether or not they decide to watch the show in the first place. So I would suggest that within the theater, the service signs could be written in English or in double languages. The ushers could communicate in English.
Okay, how do you think of the circular system within the Dutch theaters regarding to paper waste?
Do I have to say that? Okay, if I have to say, it would be that the lighting costs too much, but it's theater. You have to use those amount of lights and also for the brochures and stuff. I feel like people would just throw them away or not even look at them. But the theater would still print those amount of flyers. I don't understand that. They could have sent out digital ones to save paper.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.